Ooh, that was nice and full. That was a full one.
It was like a shaka.
Yeah, I
It's
approve.
like the reverb on it.
Dude, Vanguard's going to win. I really think they are. I think their pit's better than everybody else, and the battery might not be the top battery, but I think they're going to win.
I think it's the setup to where they have a great package both in the battery and the front. Not that other people don't, but that maybe their average of those is first. They're definitely not the best battery to me as far as drumline, and there might be some other pits out there that are better than their pit, but the average of both, I guess, is really good. But
yeah, it's honestly
it's not my cup of tea, but
in my
we'll
opinion,
get into that a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get into detail, but I think all of the top 5 are just really good. I think they're all phenomenal. It's wild.
There's a lot of really good
Yep.
stuff, and I was talking actually to my wife about this too. We just like the shows better. Like the overall shows this year of groups, I like just better than last year. Like they're more enjoyable to watch. It doesn't seem like they carry on too long. Like you get bored. Like last year, I would get super bored halfway through a lot of the shows. This year they hold my attention a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. So before we go any further, welcome everyone to the Aged Out Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Fantini, and with me as always is
Evan Worrell.
And please help us out. We appreciate it if you give us that subscription on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, subscribe on iTunes. We're also on Spotify. All of that helps us just grow and kind of continue to make this thing and raise awareness and so on. And today is just kind of a check-in episode. Atlanta happened a few days ago, and we're just going to go over scores, opinions about placements, what we think might happen at DCI finals, and anything and everything that might just come off of that. So who won drums in Atlanta?
The same group that's won drums all year long.
Yes. The same group that I said when we first started a couple minutes ago was going to win drums for the absolute 4th year in a row. And
it's going to be close, man. It's going to be close. Like, we'll get into the spreads, I guess, but I think there's a lot of factors that are going to have to happen. It's going to depend on who's on the field finals week for all 3 shows, because obviously the caption awards are now an average of the nights for brass, color guard, visual, percussion, and I guess GE does the average too.
Do we know who the judges are for those 3 nights in drums?
No, I don't think they've released that yet. I usually can get them though beforehand, because the cores usually get a list like, oh, this person, and then I get somebody to send me the list, and so.
Yeah, I would imagine Christensen would be in that mix somewhere.
Possibly AK, possibly Prospery. Sometimes they throw a different person in there, like Lightsky's been in there in finals a couple of years. I heard that Jeff Brooks might be in this year on finals week. We'll see.
Cool. I'd definitely be okay with any of those guys. But is Prosper, he's judging this summer, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He judged the Atlanta Regional, actually.
Okay. Well,
and then Chris Heston, I saw, was on the list to judge a show. I was like, yeah, I don't know if he judged last year or previous years, but I think it's cool that he's back out there if this is his coming back to the party season. But I always thought that he left really good tapes for Endor, and just, I don't know, he's kind of judge that you really liked. That was like excited about what you're doing, but still critiquing it. So it wasn't just like hater and giving you tick tapes.
Yeah, I've never had any issues with any of his tapes or anything like that for groups that I've been a part of that he's judged. But so Vanguard won drums in Atlanta. Who got second?
Hold on, where am I at? I gotta go to BD.
Okay, we'll talk about them in a minute because they've done what typically BD does, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, third was Blue Coats.
Coats.
Okay,
Yep.
Fourth was who? Crown. Fifth.
Cavaliers.
Sixth.
Cadets.
Whoa, wait, time out. The Cavies are fifth.
Yep.
That we got to talk about that here in a minute after we go over the rest of these placements. The Cavaliers are a very interesting animal this summer, but we'll get into that here in a minute. So after Cadets in sixth, who else we got?
I'll just run through. We got BK.
Okay.
Eighth was Boston. 9th was Phantom. Then Blue Stars, Crossmen, Spirit, Colts, Mandarins, Scouts, Crest, Troopers, Academy, Music City, Surf, Genesis, Cascades. Rounded out the top 22.
Okay, all the way down. Nice.
All the way down.
So let's finish talking about Vanguard first. I think they're going to win a drum trophy again. I think that is a well-oiled machine. We've said it in past summers, and it's going to keep just getting better and better. So I think they have a good enough all-around package that Vanguard is just going to win again. And has there ever been a group that's won 4 years in a row? I know the Cadets won 3, 01, 02, 03.
No, to my knowledge, I don't think that there's been anyone that has won 4 in a row. I'd have to backtrack. I'm sure it's on Snare Science. I know Cadets have had a few in a row, maybe 01, 02, 03. They won 3 in a row, but I know they definitely they didn't win in 2004.
Yeah.
Because that was Vanguard. And I don't think they won in 2000 on the front end of that, because I'm pretty sure that was the Cavaliers. 2000, maybe? I don't know. Maybe they won 4 years in a row.
Yeah, whatever it was. But either way, that's my pick already. I mean, Atlanta happened. I've seen a lot of videos from the lot. I saw their show on the field, I think, in San Antonio. The core is not going to win. I think that's Blue Devils or Blue Coats gold medal. And they've been kind of in a dogfight.
Yeah, they've been flip-flopping almost on a nightly basis. Yep. I think that BD is going to win overall, personally. Really? I just think that they're going to peak at the right time like they do, and that their show is clever enough and crafty enough. I'll hit that tap dancing part of the show on the prop. It just goes on way too long. Yeah. But that's just – I think that theirs has a little bit more oomph to it. I don't know of a better way to put that. But as I watch the Blue Coats, and they changed their ending, and some people don't like it, and I'm like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to be enough.
The Blue Coats changed their ending and people don't like it, or the Blue Devils?
Blue Coats.
Okay. I heard about the new ending, but I haven't seen it yet. So.
And, man, I think at the end of their show, there was like a trombone quartet, trio, duo. I don't know the number of them. But I was watching on the stream at Atlanta. I was like, man, this dude is just parked here for like the last 3 minutes of the show. Like, his resets are glorious. Reset to page, blah, blah, blah. Solid, I'm here. I don't know. BD is closing the gap, and I think Blue Coats are closing the gap too as far as like the drum spreads go. So, I mean, Night Beat the day after the Atlanta Regional, they were all back together, like the top 8 groups. Yeah. And BD beat Vanguard on the field in achievement. And they were 0.5 away from them overall in percussion. So it was close. It's a little close. But yeah, the spreads get a little weird. But
I definitely want to talk about BD for a second, because I mentioned earlier they've been an anomaly to me. Like, they've been like a roller coaster up and down all season. And they're definitely coming on strong at the end. And like you said, that's just typical BD fashion. That's what they always do. I don't know why I ever doubted them. I mean, 2 episodes ago, or our early season impression episode, I was kind of like, this is a super young BD line. Like, they don't look like normal. And I saw their lot videos from Atlanta, and I was like, oh, BD does know what they're doing. And look at that. They're a top 3 group.
Except I still don't think the quad line looks like a typical quad line for a BD.
No, I will stand by that statement. I don't think they're what BD's quad line has typically been over the past couple decades, but I still think they're good.
Yeah, they're still good. I mean, we're splitting hairs and we're critiquing to the nth degree, especially when we're picking these groups apart.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that's what we're doing. That's why we're doing it. So.
Yep.
And that's always BD's thing. It's like, if they can just get consistent enough, they always typically have the vehicle to win or place where they want to place. I mean, I remember when we did that podcast with Ryan Ellis, he talked about that. He's like, we knew that when we got to the end, if we just executed and played great, then we had the tools and the vehicle to win.
Yeah.
So it really just comes down to, can they get consistent enough the last like couple weeks of tour? And some years they do and they win, and some years they do and they don't win, I guess. But
yeah, they definitely.
Some years they don't. I mean, that was the case last year in finals a lot. Like, watching them, they play reps and the drum line, you're like, wow, that was really good. The next time you'd be like, that was not good.
Yep.
It's just, and they're one of the few groups too that you could make the argument they play better on the move than they do standing still, just because they all move so well.
Yeah, they don't move and play a lot this year, but when they do, it's immaculate as always. But
Vanguard didn't move and play a lot either, which is interesting.
No, it
doesn't seem to be affecting their percussion scores at all.
No,
that they don't do as much body as everybody else, and they don't move as much as everybody else.
That's the most interesting thing about it to me, that they don't play that game that everybody else does and have all this crazy body and like they're in the lot like it's 2005 still, just arced up, just throwing down. And you look at their show, and they don't do all the stuff everybody else does, and they're beating everybody. So after we have BD, Bluecoats were in third. So there was kind of a discussion that went on between you, me, and our friend Brian about debating between Vanguard and Bluecoats, who's the better drumline. And the comment was made that the Bluecoats drumline's clean is a better clean. And I guess, I know that's a very subjective thing. What you like as clean is different from person to person. But I would probably agree with that. For me, that involves a lot of sound quality and the discussion about like just the blend and balance and the fullness to the battery sound. I prefer the Bluecoats clean sound to Vanguard's, but I was the one in the group that said I think Bluecoats tick more than Vanguard. Now, I will hold on. I will qualify that statement with, well, qualify isn't the right word, but I'll follow that up with, this is the best Bluecoats battery since 2015. I think hands down. They're very, very good.
Yeah, Bluecoats are jamming this year. I've very openly critiqued them previously of previous years, and I mean that's just my opinion. But I really like what they're doing this year. I think they play well. The beats, I think that their battery book, if we're just talking battery and going off that real quick, is more challenging than Vanguard's. And I think that when they play their best is better than Vanguard's best right now. I sit down and I listen to some videos of Vanguard, and it's really good, but you can just hear stuff popping out like, oh, crush that diddle, up, crush that, didn't start that roll together. And, of course, really nitpicking, but I'm just not on a bandwagon of, like, they're going to win and it's theirs. They're for sure going to win, because I don't necessarily believe that right now. So
okay. We'll see what happens. We'll see.
Yeah, but
I think
also
their book is a lot harder than Vanguard's.
BD did win 4 drum trophies in a row before, in 83, 84, 85, and 86.
Okay,
so,
got to the bottom of that one.
Yeah, 80s BD, rocking it.
Let's move past the Bluecoats now, and Crown is in fourth.
Crown is in fourth.
I feel like Crown has been slotted at this point.
Dude, I was actually saying that to somebody. I'm teaching high school band camp right now, and he's a Crown alumni, but he marched some years after me. And he was in the brass line. He was asking me, "Do you think like Crown drums can like move up?" I was like, "Nope, I think they got slotted."
Yep.
I mean, that was my honest opinion. I was like, I think that they got slotted, and that's unfortunate, but.
And I don't know why that is.
Every year for some reason. They both at Atlanta and Nightbeat though, they were third in achievement over like in the percussive subcaptions.
Over who? Bluecoats?
Over Bluecoats.
Okay.
And like fourth in content, maybe fifth in content at one. But like clearly undeniably just playing super consistently great all season, in my opinion. Probably the most consistent out of anybody when it comes to the drumline world. In the pit, I think I've said this too, I think that their pit is better than they have been and showcased and featured more than they have been in the past couple years. It is, I think at the end of the day too, it is super competitive. Like the top 5, 6, like could be mixed up almost on any given night.
Yeah, I mean,
in my opinion, if judges are doing it the right way and based on like who was the better group tonight, like who played the best, but I don't think that always happens. I think people get slotted.
Yeah, this year is a true example of just the whole top 6 could all be interchanged on a given night depending on the judge who had a bad run and a good run. You're essentially splitting hairs. It's the perfect example of those top groups being defined by just the very, very tiny little mistakes. And I love it because it means I get to watch more high quality drum lines. But
it makes it more intriguing as a fan too, just because you can't really truly predict what's going to happen. Maybe after prelims and after semis night, 2 nights are done, you're pretty much going to have a good idea who has a shot based on where they placed the first 2 nights.
Yeah.
But I think it makes it interesting, and there's been a lot of change up just within like the top 2, BD and Blue Coat switching around, and then like 5, 6, like Cavaliers. I don't think the Cadets were in 6. I think they're actually getting smashed overall. But
yeah, the core's not doing so hot compared to what they normally do.
That show sucks. It's absolutely terrible.
I still have not seen it because I keep hearing how bad it is. And I enjoy their drum lines so much that I don't want to tarnish my opinion of them by watching the show. I'll watch it at finals or at Allentown on the stream or something. I will watch it, but I'm purposefully avoiding it for right now.
Yeah, dude.
That's not a good look when fans are legitimately saying, I don't want to watch your show because it'll ruin my opinion of one of your sections. You have done
so weird,
something wrong.
And it's paced so poorly. I mean, we'll go ahead and talk about them, and then we'll jump back to Cavaliers. And you'll have to watch it. I'll let you watch this weekend if you want to use the count.
Okay.
But Allentown's this weekend.
Yeah.
But, dude, it's just so boring to watch. And I feel bad. That's nothing against the performers or the kids, the members themselves.
Yeah, they can't control the show design.
Can't control that, but I'm just like, man, this show sucks. Literally sucks.
That happens sometimes.
Well, another thing, too, that's kind of weird is as I was watching, I was like, man, they don't move super great, which they usually are hauling and moving and running and, like, visual, like, very hardcore about their visual program.
Yeah, like last year's show?
But I was just like,
I loved it.
They don't move well.
I loved the Cadet show last year. It was aggressive and just fast and difficult and a lot of – it was more – sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was going to cut you off. Finish that one. Last year's show.
No,
awesome.
Last year's show was just great. I mean, it was just fun to watch, and I think it's funny how you can have a show like that and then completely follow it up with something that is just a dud. Like, just completely miss the mark.
It's funny, too, because I was just talking about the visual demand or visual not greatness. That was terribly worded. But anyway, the drum line actually moves pretty well, which makes sense for a couple reasons. I think a lot of those dudes march indoor.
Yeah.
And so they just move and carry themselves all year. But I was like, man, the batter, like everything about the percussion section is just elevated above the rest of the core. I mean, that's reflected in the recaps too. I mean, that's not rocket science, but
yeah, I think it's great. So
although I love watching their drumline play, but I hate the Remo suede heads. Hate's a strong word. Don't like the Remo suede heads. The suede Black Max.
Oh, the Black Maxes?
Yeah.
I used them in 2010.
I like the regular Black Max, man.
Oh,
just use the regular Black.
There's
yeah,
difference?
It's like a matte finish. It's a little bit more like warmer, but it sounds like a dud to me. Huh. I think actually Cavaliers got rid of them and went back to the regular Black Max. So good for you guys. So
speaking of the Cavaliers, as a segue, let's jump over to those guys. And so they, I think, are a product of the judging changes that have been made. And because I see videos of parts of their show that are super easy, and even though they're easy, aren't played that great. Like, they just aren't spending a whole lot of time on it. And then there's other parts that are Mike McIntosh craziness, and they play the hell out of it. And you told me that, having seen their show, that those hard parts are the exposed moments where the judge can actually evaluate them. So did McIntosh play the game this year?
It seems like he played the game. And I had another friend of mine message me, and he was just like, man, if I only watched the Cavaliers show on the field, I would be like, dang, they're playing some hard stuff. Because their exposed moments and their feature moments, the drumline and the pit, it's like, yeah, that was really cool. The pit has some crazy stuff where they're splitting runs. They're doing the hand-to-hands within the one player standing on the front side of the keyboard on the back side and then rotating around. Their pit's sick.
Oh, their pit's always phenomenal.
Yeah, the drumline, you watch the show and you're like, man, they're playing some stuff. But then you watch the live videos and you're like, oh, that was cool. And then there's 3 minutes of, this is the easiest thing I've seen somebody play in a top 12 drum corps.
Yeah. It's wild.
So maybe he's just playing the game. They're probably not working on that stuff that much.
I mean,
they're working
getting
the
fifth.
feature moments.
They're getting fifth.
Dude,
I mean, they're not getting their butts kicked. They're beating a lot of people that are playing a lot harder stuff for most of their show. And I don't know Mike McIntosh. I think I met him once. He judged a high school group, and I did a critique with him and talked to him for a minute. But I don't know him like some of our friends do. But from what I've heard, it kind of seems like he might be that guy that would do that. The first year they made the changes because he didn't agree with what they were doing by taking the judge off the field.
Well, even if he just, whether the motive of that was like, I don't agree with it, or the motive of just, I'm not going to make us have to work super hard on all these other moments when we only have to focus on these moments to get the credit that we need.
It is a practicalities thing beyond anything else. It's definitely just a practicality thing. So, I
mean, Dan Shack talked about that in his Flow Marching article that he recently wrote about what groups are practicing now is definitely different. They have their moments where it's their ensemble moments. He's like, we don't hit this in our percussion sectional time. We just know it's a moment that, hey, these beats are effective enough for the overall show and the general effect of the show, but they're not too challenging that we're going to have to spend time cleaning them outside of ensemble. So when percussion ensemble, we can just focus on our feature moments.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more to that article that people should read.
Nice little plug there.
I mean, it's good stuff. It's good content. I'll always plug that. People should get paid for the work they do. I don't care.
Sure.
Whatever.
100% agree.
But yeah, Cavaliers, man, playing the game.
I mean, I love the exposed moments. I think it's typical McIntosh. It's rhythmically funky. It's hard. It sounds great. And they play the hell out of it. But rest of it, they look like they're bored out of their minds because they probably are. But we'll see what happens with them. I think they've been slotted too. I think the Cadets.
Well,
will
it also
them.
doesn't help.
I think the Cadets.
I think their core is. Well, actually, I don't know what place the core is.
No, the core is fine.
Are they?
I think the core's not doing bad at all.
That's one show too that watching at the Atlanta regional has developed a lot more.
As the season's gone on?
Yeah, it just developed a lot more as the season's gone on. And early season, I saw it like maybe a little in the first two shows of the summer, and I was just like, wow, I do not like this at all. I still don't know why they fall down at the very end of the show. I don't know what that's all about. I don't
know why 80% of drum corps do 90% of the stuff they do throughout their shows. I'm just a drum head. But I'm getting better. I'm learning. I'm starting to watch a lot more than just drums when I watch drum corps shows. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I think they're just going to end up in 5th or 6th. I think the Cadets will beat the Cavaliers by finals because I think the Cadets' drum line is better. Would you agree with that?
I mean, depends on how far they drop.
You mean the core, how far the core drops?
Yeah.
I mean, they're in 9th right now. That's going to be tough. It'll be amazing if a 9th place core drumline percussion section can finish top 4 or like top 5. It's a shame it's that way, but going on that early on finals night really does. Like having 4 other groups between you and the groups you're actually competing with in percussion land, it does affect it.
The only time that really happened successfully that I can remember of recent time was 2010 when Phantom Regiment was in like 7th place as a core and won drums.
Well, Phantom Regiment that year was undeniably the best drum line, the best percussion section.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even close between everybody else. If my memory serves right. I don't think it was close.
Oh, no, they were definitely the best.
Okay. Just making sure I wasn't misremembering or blowing things out of proportion. So, after Cadets and Cavies, you said BK was in 7th?
BK.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like they're just, is their core around 7th place too? You know?
The core is around, well, they were in 7th. So 7's across the board, kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
captions. But dude, I love that drum line this year. I don't know. It's just
I like them every year.
I feel like it's a good blend of beef to musicality. I think there's been years have passed where I'm like, I just want you to play a little bit more. It's super musical. The dynamic contrast is through the roof.
Well, this year they are playing a little more, and
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sadly, I just think it's on a year where the big established names ahead of them are also having a really good year. Like if it was a different year where Maybe the cadets were off, the cabbies were off like the last couple of years. Like, I think they could make a statement and kind of make a stronger finish, but I think it's a really good year for DCI percussion.
It's
really just
strong.
A really strong year.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of like groups that are like, wow, they're far and away in a tier of their own. Like, there's a ton just in that S tier or top tier of achievement.
And as we go down and get further down here, this list, somebody told me once, and it was like, okay, you think they should be scoring higher over what groups?
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's tough to do.
Because like you want to put it like, oh yeah, I want to move them up my list, but then you're like, who do I move them over? Like, I don't know. This group's really good too. This group's really good too.
Yeah, I think
who do I take them with? So
seventh is probably where BK should be. Like, I think in seventh place this year is respectable. Like, that's not a bad finish.
Dude, like 10th place is gonna be respectable this year.
Yeah, it's insane. I can't wait to go to finals. I think it's gonna be a good time. So BK is just BK. Beefier book. Had a great year on an up year for everybody else. So it's just a crazy dogfight. I don't think those guys should feel bad at all about a 7th place finish. I think it's just a hell of a year. So after them, was it Boston?
Yeah, Boston. Well, it was Boston at Atlanta, but they got beat by Blue Stars at Night Beat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have they okay, so Boston, I talked about the 4s on the last episode on our early season impressions. Have they watered the book at all? Because it is insanely hard.
I don't think so.
Oh, man.
Did they play? They play well. It's just, all right. This is my thing when I watched their show. And I think what I noticed with their moments versus other groups is all their percussion moments sounded the same. It was like a ram of constant notes.
I mean, that's
like
kind of just McNutt. Hasn't that been McNutt's MO the past like 5 seasons?
It's like, we're going to fit the most amount of notes we can in this 8 bars as we possibly can. And it's like, you're screaming in my face the whole time. This sounds the exact same as the last one. Long triplet rolls, 4 strokes, long triplet rolls, really fast triplet rolls. It's like, okay, I get it. You guys play a ton of notes. And they got dogged in content at one of the shows. Like, they were in like 10th in content. And you're like, well, I can't say that I completely disagree with that. I mean, you hear it and you're like, yeah, it's really hard. Really hard.
But it doesn't do anything for the listener.
Where's the variety? Like, where's the musicality? Like, where's the support to, like, I don't know. So, and they're playing stuff in their book that I can't play. Like, I was like, I can't do that.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stuff in there that I couldn't even hope. But, I mean, we both have old man hands at this point.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I don't know if I could ever play it. I don't know if I could play 4s. I don't know if that's a skill set that I have.
I feel like that's a skill set you have to specifically practice to be able to do. Like, you can't... Like, if you ask... Remember how Manny used to play those incredible 4s, like, in Pulse when he was marching?
Yeah,
like in 2011, like when we were marching?
INE snare drum champion.
Yeah. I guarantee he practiced those 4s. Or, I might be wrong, he might have just been a freak of nature when it came to drumming. But I would think that's the kind of skill set that's not really developed, except maybe by 3s. But...
Dude, I don't know. They're getting dogged. And, like I said, who do you put them over? The groups ahead of them are all doing well.
I think 8th is right. I think 8th or 9th is correct.
Yeah. Did they play some hard stuff?
Sorry, go on.
I still don't like the snare drum tuning.
No, I haven't liked the snare drum tuning at Boston in probably since McNutt got there. What, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was.
I think this
is
is
too high,
year,
man. Those top heads are like tabletops.
At least they're super dry, man.
Didn't we have someone reach out to us after we talked about that once and said they actually feel pretty good to play on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it was somebody who was in the line. I remember one of our YouTube comments. He was like, "Oh, they actually feel pretty good to play on." I'm like, "Well, doesn't sound like it, but well, I'll take your opinion over mine. I've never played on them." So
that person's done it, so his opinion is obviously more accurate than ours. We're just going by what it sounds like. But historically, in my experience, if a top head sounds like that, it's probably not been the most comfortable thing to play on, just for me personally.
Yeah, they sound reefed and the bottom sound
All
low
right.
and boxy, but whatever.
So moving on, you said the Blue Stars jumped them.
They beat them They beat them the show after.
And has there been another show
Actually,
since then?
at Atlanta, Phantom finished 9th right after Boston, but Phantom wasn't at night beat. Or wait, yeah, they were. So they kind of flip flopped around that area.
Okay. I checked out some Phantom earlier today in preparation for recording this, and they're pretty good. They are good. They're solid, especially
the snares. I mean, which if you're gonna have a good section, you definitely want it to be that one. I guess it carries a lot of weight as far as like especially now what a judge is able to hear.
It's just the most exposed. It's the most exposed instrument in the drumline.
Most articulate.
Well, beyond bass unisons. Bass unisons are very exposed. Everybody hears those, but I think it's a solid year. I think they're a whole lot better than last year. So kudos to them. Shout out
I saw a lot video, and they played some really good roles. But I was like, the quads did not have a good time in the lot video I saw.
Yeah, I mean everybody has bad nights. It happens, especially the farther you go down the rankings. The consistency night to night is really what I think is the biggest differentiator. Once you get to the less experienced or the lower finishing cores, typically have less experienced members, and so the consistency can be a little hit or miss from day to day. But that's just part of the game. So Phantom, who else was right after
Blue
them?
Stars.
Blue Stars.
FCO.
Despite I marched there, can't believe it's been 9 years. I haven't seen a single video. I saw the Vic Firth Learn the Music video from spring training, and I didn't have time today because I worked, then taught band, and then now I'm doing this. But have you seen them?
There's some recent ones that, they're good, man. They play a little like I was gonna say boxy, but they don't play boxy. But I feel like they play within a box.
Okay, that's what I was getting ready to clarify. Do you mean like
the high end? Doesn't quite. I don't know. Like I feel like there'd be a little bit more punch on the high end, like the 9 to 3, like the 9. I'm like, I want a little bit more, but they play well.
Yeah. Because Shriver's not there anymore. Who is running that program now? Isn't this year a new staff?
Yeah, it's a new staff. I can't remember the dude's name. He comes from the West Coast. He had some affiliation. I think he works as like a caption or battery caption head at RCC. I can't remember his name.
That's right. I can't remember the name either, but we talked about this.
But then Joey's there teaching the bass drums now.
Yeah.
Joey's the man. And
I've heard good things.
Yeah, Joey can teach some bass drums. But yeah, they're doing well. I mean, I think that they're doing better. Like they're kind of like a little bit. They're better than they were last year, in my opinion. So.
Okay. I don't envy them for wearing those
lumberjack uniforms.
Well, the uniform in general,
the toboggans,
but,
man.
Man, those hats have to be so hot.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I'll be like taking it off and like wiping sweat off my forehead. Oh my gosh.
As soon as the show's over and like we're going off the field, just rip that thing off my head every time.
Oh, I bet those things smell terrible.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Jeez.
Probably not even dried out night to night.
Anyone,
just so much sweat.
If anyone listens to this that's marching Blue Stars this summer, let us know. How do they smell?
Keep them under the bus, not on the bus.
I wouldn't want those on the bus. They'd be, I don't know where I'd want to keep that. Jeez.
Keep it in my snare bag.
Probably.
Equipment truck.
I'd probably keep it on the equipment truck in my snare case with the drum. But, all right. That's a totally different aside, but whatever. After them, what do we got? Remind me.
Blue Stars Crossman, the Bones.
Have they cleaned up despite their crazy hard body?
There's not a lot of videos, actually. I was looking on YouTube yesterday and today, and there's like one video from like Muncie, Indiana, which is almost a month ago, and then there's one from like San Antonio, maybe, which is like a week ago. And I was like, well, it was not a good angle.
Okay.
They were like, so I was like, there's better stuff in here, but they're still letting some stuff fly.
Sounds like Drumline AV needs to step up his game. Get on that.
Calling out Evan. Um, but they're doing well, so I'm assuming that they've gotten
Cleaned up
better
some.
and cleaned up because they are moving up. Early season, they're getting rocked in some percussion caption. But now sitting 9th, 11th overall. They were 9th in achievement at ATL. So
that's great. That's cool.
Yeah, they beat Blue Stars, Phantom, in clarity in achievement. So
wow.
I mean, it's all pretty tight in there. We start getting down here at the bottom 12 of finals ish.
Yep. So who was the one after Grossman?
Spirit.
Okay.
Made finals in drums. I don't think they were top 12 at that show.
No, I don't think the core did.
They're getting close, man. They might squeak into 12th. It's gonna be a dogfight.
It usually is every year for 12th place, man. Usually there's like 3 cores pitting
Phantom
it out.
was 12th overall at the show in Atlanta.
Talk about how the mighty have fallen. Well, okay. Phantom fell years ago because they were like
fell
in the
as
top
soon as
6.
Rennick left.
Yeah, as soon as Rennick left, there was a huge drop off. Not only in Drumland, but like the core in general. But they were still always in finals, solidly in the middle of the pack of the top 12, like bouncing around in that middle range, like 6 to 9, somewhere in there. But man, for them when's the last time Phantom didn't make finals? Do we know?
I don't know. And I think that they will make finals. That's crazy to even feel like I'm contemplating.
Yeah.
But I think that they'll be in there and they'll get a little bit cleaner. I mean, their stuff's hard. They got a lot of demand that I think kind of helps them over some of the groups that are right behind them, like the Spirits, Colts Academy. Mm-hmm. So I just don't see any of those groups jumping them for that 12th spot. I could even see Phantom jumping to like 10th, like Mandarins were 10th at the Atlanta regional, but it's all fairly close. I mean, it's gonna be a cutthroat finish.
Yeah, I saw a video of the Scouts from Atlanta. They were better than I thought they were going to be, just from everything I've heard about the core having a struggling year, like finishing in 17th right now or something. I was expecting worse, and so I was pleasantly surprised. The biggest thing is I think the book is too hard, and so because of that, there's a lot of clarity that happens in the middle of phrases, but they struggle a lot at the beginning and to end them. And that's just a symptom of inexperienced members trying to play music that is a little bit above their experience and ability level right now.
Yeah, I think it's just wildly overwritten for the consistency that you need to get bumped up higher.
Yes.
And I think that they did the opposite of what Mac did, as far as, or not saying that Mac did that on purpose, but what we were just talking about with, but I watched their videos and I'm like, man, you guys are playing notes all the time too. Like, this is too hard, too much. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Pick your battles.
Is it worth it? Is it worth it?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Also, a random shout out. I saw a random video because I know someone that's marching in Jersey Surf's bass line and their snare line, and bass line. They're not bad. Jersey Surf, I was actually raised my eyebrows a little bit. At least the video I saw was solid.
Yeah, there's a lot of some of those groups that are a little bit under are having much better years. Surf is better. Pacific Crest is a lot better, even as overall as a core. I think they're beating Scouts overall right now.
Wow. I think you're right. I think I saw that.
I don't know if they did at the – yeah, they did beat them actually at the Atlanta Regional. So, yeah. Colts percussion section is strong. Their bass line's really good.
Dude, they're very good.
Mandarins are beating cadets and brass and stuff. It's kind of wild.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably justifiable. I mean,
I'm not doubting.
Wait till you see this cadet show.
I never thought that I would hear the statement that the cadets got beat by the Mandarins in anything. And that is not a downplay on the Mandarins as a core, but just in my entire drum corps knowledge, the entire time I've been following the activity, the cadets have been one of the top dogs. 1 gold medals, 1 drum trophies. I mean, to think, what is going... I understand the George Hopkins fallout. I understand. But, Tom is back there. The percussion section's on point. They're competitive every year. Is it just they just need to get obviously the show design they got a dud this year, but your show design doesn't affect how well your brass plays.
Yeah, I mean the cadets did beat them at brass at the Atlanta Regional, but just for some food for thought, they were 12th in a GE, 10th in another, 11th in another. Like
just that is show design fault, but
11th in visual analysis, like 10th in color guard, like just getting rocked.
Like, didn't I make the statement that the cadets show from last summer was my favorite show of that summer? I think I did.
Maybe.
I think it was. Like I really enjoyed their show last year. It almost reminds me of, and I'm not saying Stand By Me from Rhythm X in 2011 is on the level of Dud, because I actually that show grows on me every time I watch it, but Inspired in 10 was such a high from a show design standpoint. Like, it's almost like that year-to-year drop. Like, Inspired.
Oh, come on now. Come on now.
No, I just said it's not
from
quite as
to
large.
Fourth those years, not like whatever the cadets were to whatever they are now.
It's not like comparing the scale, but it's that kind of idea. Like, you produce Inspired, and then you try something different. Maybe are the cadets just trying something different that didn't work?
I don't know. They're just bad.
Okay, well, there you have it, folks.
I don't know what they did different.
I really feel like I need to watch this show now.
Dude, yeah.
I might find
They're bad
it
except for the
as soon as we're done recording. I might find it. All right. Predictions. Or, well, not predictions. We already said that kind of. I think Vanguard's going to win drums. Who do you think?
Dude,
if you had to say who you think's going to win, who do you think it is?
Oh, my gosh. It's so hard. I know what, like the very logical thing to say is Vanguard. I would pick Vanguard. Like, if I had to put money on it, I would put money on Vanguard.
Like, gun to your head, who's winning drums?
Yeah, I would say Vanguard.
Okay.
Who
do you
I feel like they've also been
drums?
slotted at the top. Somebody different.
Someone that's not BD or Vanguard.
Dude, I would love for Crown to win a drum trophy.
Love for
or Blue Coats to win a drum trophy. Neither of them have.
One. No, they've been close.
I don't think that either of them are going to. But
they've been close so many times and just never sealed the deal.
I don't think that either of them are going to win,
no,
but
I don't think so either.
I think it's slotted. I think it's just going to stay the way it is.
Yeah, me too.
No matter how they play.
So, irrespective of that, sorry, I just got really quiet. I think that's fine. Who do you think has the best snare line?
What are we talking? Just like, who do I think is the best,
who
or like the most consistent, or
is the best snare line for whatever your own personal criteria is? Who is the best snare line in DCI this right now?
Crown.
Okay.
I think that they just have the most consistent sound and quality, player to player, and execution day to day.
Okay.
We could go by sections. All right, you're gonna give sections, and then I'll let you.
That's what we're gonna do.
All right. Yeah.
My snare line is this is a lot hard. I hadn't actually thought about my answer before I asked you the question, and as you were deliberating, I was like, oh crap, I have no idea what I'm gonna say. I said earlier that Blue Coats clean is better than Vanguard's clean. I think like all the top groups have moments where you're like, God, that's perfect.
Just pick one.
All right. You're rushing me. I'm him hawing because I don't know. I would say right now, Blue Coats or Vanguard are probably the best snare line.
Gotcha. I feel like some of the other sections are easier for me to.
I would say so too. But between those two, I think Blue Coats, Vanguard, and Crown are really close. Like you're talking really.
That snare line is pretty good too. But
I know. All right.
All
whatever,
right. Best
right,
quad line. You're going first.
Cadets.
Yeah, cadets.
I
think that one's easy for me.
That's real easy. They're incredible. Now this is coming from two snare drummers. If anyone's a quad drummer out there, please comment on why we're stupid and wrong. But please defend your opinion. Defend your opinion. Qualify why we're wrong. But I'm pretty positive that in my eyes, the cadets quad line is great.
Same.
Play a ton of notes. They look identical from each other when they play. It's smooth as butter. It's great. Bass lines.
Blue Coats.
I would agree. Iowan's easy for me too.
I think Blue Coats baseline is nuts.
Yeah, they do some stuff that I'm just like it was so even, but I have no idea.
I need to rewind and watch it again.
I need to slow it down so I can figure out what rhythm you're playing. But it's not in the sense that it's bad. It's just it's all smooth as butter. Like so it's good, but you have no idea what they just played.
Yeah.
No clue.
Best run ensemble. Have you watched enough?
I have not seen enough to comment. Have you?
Vanguard or Cavies, maybe Cavies Edge. I don't know. They got some pretty cool exposed moments and feature moments. Yeah. Well, maybe Cavaliers give the edge.
There it is.
It's kind of ironic. Neither of us said Vanguard for any section, but they're winning.
I said
but
Vanguard
like
kind of for snare drums.
All 4 sections.
Yeah, every section is good enough. Like the sum of the parts is great, even though they're not like head and shoulders above anybody in any subsection. The whole thing just works.
Yeah.
So cool. You want to close this out? I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I think I'm good. It'll be. I'll let you check out Allentown. And then right now, I guess the plan that's already in motion is we're going to go up and watch lots for prelims and semis at Indy, and then come home and watch finals.
Yeah, right. So also, like you just said, we will be in the lot all day Friday for semis, walking around. We think we might have each be wearing an Aged Out Podcast t-shirt, so you'll be able to identify what we look like and who we are. And we will update this on the Instagram and Facebook, have stickers for the first so many people that come say hi, like stickers for your laptop or whatever. We don't know how many. We got to figure that out first. We'll post an update when we have more info. But after that, I think we're good for today. So I'll remind everyone, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, follow on Instagram, subscribe on iTunes and Spotify, follow on Facebook. All of that stuff helps, and make sure you never miss an update on anything we're doing or when new episodes are available. And we will just see everybody after finals.
Peace.